Hey YouTube, Carrot Week here, bringing you all my War Rock Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for October 2021. I've actually been wanting to make a War Rock deck for quite a while now. I actually just never got around to collecting up the good majority of the cards for the deck, but it's a warrior deck that just focuses on some pretty powerful plays using the different War Rock spell and traps we have. A warrior earth type deck that when summoned just meant to summon out all the other higher level War Rock monsters, then you can benefit from all the different monster effects of those War Rock cards as well. I'm not sure if we'll get any future support for this deck. It would definitely be cool to maybe see some extra deck monsters that this deck can utilize as well. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what direction, if any, they take with this deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the War Rock monsters, I'm running 3 War Rock Gaktos. If an Earth Warrior monster is normal summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is sent from your monster zone to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 level 5 or higher War Rock monster from your hand or deck. You can use this effect of War Rock Gaktos once per turn. So we do run a good majority of different War Rock higher level monsters that can easily be summoned onto the field. And with Gaktos, this is just one of the extra ways to do so. Running through this just gives us a powerhouse of a monster having 1900 attack and 1900 defense, and you'll see that with a good majority of the other different War Rock monsters we run, including War Rock Wento. This one, if your Earth Warrior monster battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can pay 800 life points. Your battling monster gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. And if this card is sent from your monster zone to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 level 5 or higher War Rock monster from your hand or deck. So sharing that similarity with the good majority of the lower War Rock monsters, this card just helps with the power boost it provides, but still giving you more options for your higher level monsters in the deck. The one War Rock I don't have, sadly, for the deck profile is War Rock Forsha, another one of the level 4 monsters. I'll show what numbers you can take out for Forsha, but one of the options is to remove 2 copies of Wento and 1 copy of Gaktos, and then put in 3 copies of War Rock Forsha, or just remove 1 and 1 copies to add 2, depending on how many of that level 4 monster you want to run in the deck. There is one other hand trap option you can have for removing to add in 3 copies of War Rock Forsha, but I'll go over that when we get to the hand trap lineup. For some of the other War Rock monsters, some of the higher level ones, I am running 3 War Rock Orpus. If you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, you can normal summon this card without attributing. If your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can send 1 Earth Warrior monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for War Rock Orpus. Then all War Rock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until your opponent's turn. And you can only use this effect of Orpus once per turn. So this is just another easy monster to get out on the field, since the majority of cards we run in the deck are warrior monsters, so it's just an easy normal summon with no tribute required, giving you the power boost, but then also more setup in your graveyard for you to use with the majority of your other War Rock monsters. For some of the other higher level ones, I also run 2 War Rock Bashileos. During a battle phase in which your Earth Warrior monster battles, quick effect, you can activate this effect. This card can attack directly this turn. Also, all War Rock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. And while this card is in your hand or graveyard, when an Earth Warrior monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can use each effect of War Rock Bashileos once per turn. So not only do you have the special summon option with your lower level War Rock monsters, being able to then just summon out Bashileos from the graveyard and have it be set up with some of your other War Rock monsters is a big plus there, because not only will you get some of the other higher level War Rock monsters we run the deck onto the field that much more quickly, but you can rely on cards like Bashileos to get onto the field that much quickly also. I also run 1 War Rock Meteor Ragon, and with this card, it cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, and when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can negate that opponent's monster's effect this turn, as well as any activated effects and effects of the field of monsters with the same original name. And once per turn during the battle phase, if your Earth Warrior monster battles, quick effect, you can make all War Rock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of an opponent's turn. Also, this card can make up to 2 attack on monsters during each battle phase. So 2600 attack and 2600 defense, being one of the go-to War Rock monsters you want to special summon with all the lower level War Rock cards is just a big plus there, and the fact that it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is what the good majority of what your opponent's going to try and do with all the other different War Rock monsters we run. I only run 1 of this card because you really only need the 1 for the easy special special summon with your lower level War Rocks to get it onto the field to use. I also run 1 War Rock Skylar and also 1 War Rock Mahmood. Having all the different higher level options with these cards, the different attack boosts is also your main go-to setup with these monsters, but also having the normal summon option with Mahmood and also just another special summon option with your War Rock Skylar, giving you the 200 boosts, and also for the direct attack option with level 5 or lower monsters being your War Rock monsters when you summon out your War Rock Skylar onto the field. And then as for the hand trap option, I am running 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and also 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. If you didn't want to run the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, this can be your other option to take out for War Rock Forsha, and also for the setup of an additional hand trap. If you didn't want to run Ghost Ogre, you can also try cards like Nibiru or even Effect Veiler as the option for this last hand trap spot. But also, if you didn't take out any of the beginning lineup level 4 monsters for War Rock Forsha, taking out the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, I would say, is the best option for adding in this other level 4 War Rock monster. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. The main go-to spell is your field spell, which is War Rock Mountain. When this card is activated, you can add 1 War Rock monster from your deck to your hand. And at the start of the battle phase, if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, you can special summon 1 War Rock monster from your hand with a different name than the cards you control. And if your warrior monster would be destroyed by battle, you can send the card to the graveyard instead. You can only use and activate 1 War Rock Mountain per turn. So the main reason I run 3 of this card, it does give you the search. So it's basically a field spell that just gives you resources, but also you're going to use this card more often than not to protect your War Rock monsters on the field, so you want to have multiple other copies to add right afterwards. So this activation will definitely be useful because you won't just be activating War Rock Mountain on top of War Rock Mountain, you'll be activating one after you have successfully used your other one to protect your other monsters on the field. And I also run 3 War Rock Dignity. We have a good number of different spells for the lineups for your War Rock monsters. You must control a War Rock monster to activate either of this card's effects, and it is a quick play spell. When a monster your opponent controls activates effects, negate that effect, or during the battle phase when your opponent activates a spell or trap, or monster effect, negate that effect. You can activate 1 War Rock Dignity per turn. So being a quick play spell that can just negate a card on your opponent's field as long as you have a War Rock monster is basically the guaranteed setup for what you want to do with this card, having plenty of options to just go from your hand, activate, and then stop an opponent's effect from resolving, whether it be a monster or just during the battle phase for a spell, trap, or monster effect. Very, very useful. It doesn't destroy the card, but it can stop any play your opponent may have tried to use against you. And I also run 2 War Rock Spirit, another quick play spell, and having with this 1 War Rock monster in your graveyard, then activate one of these effects. You can special summon that target in attack position, but for the rest of this turn, its effects are negated. Also, it cannot attack directly, or special summon it in defense, and the first time each War Rock you control be destroyed by battle, it is not. So this is more of the defensive card, so I'm only running 2 of this. This card, War Rock Dignity, actually negates a card effect on the field. This one is more for you to play on the defensive side against your opponent, whether you summon the monster in attack position or defense position. And I also run 1 War Rock Ordeal. If you can only control 1 War Rock Ordeal, that's why I'm only running 1 of this card. When this card is activated, you place 3 counters on it. And when your War Rock monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, remove 1 counter from this card. If you do, draw 1 card. If the last counter has been removed, you send this card to the graveyard. It's draw power, and if we could, control more of this, I would definitely call it the 6 Samurai United continuous spell of the War Rock deck. But sadly, since we can only have 1, I feel you really only need the 1 to resolve and activate to then give you draw power for more and more War Rock cards. Definitely comes in handy also with Forsha and that setup that card can provide. For the rest of these spells, I run 1 Terraforming, 1 Reinforcements of the Army, and 1 Call by the Grave. The Reinforcements of the Army is pretty standard, just being able to search a good number of the different War Rock warrior monsters, and also with Terraforming being able to search our very important field spell. Call by the Grave just being able to stop our opponent's monster cards in the graveyard also, since this card was not hit or changed at all on the latest ban list. And that is it for the spells. We'll now move on to the traps. I run 2 War Rock Generations. During the battle phase, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon 1 War Rock Rock monster from your deck. And if you activate this card during your opponent's turn for the rest of this turn while you control that face-up special summon monster, your opponent's monsters cannot attack except to attack that monster. So depending on what War Rock monster you summon, if it's a pretty powerhouse monster, you can then just have that card play defense the whole time on the field while your opponent's monsters have to attack into that card. So you really want to play this card around the fact if your opponent were to summon a monster that they basically can't attack over, that one monster you summon off of this card. And running majority warrior monsters, I am also running 3 expendable die. You tribute 1 warrior monster, target 1 card on the field, destroy it, then draw 1 card. So it can take care of an opponent's resource on their side of the field. In return, you draw a card, but also give you the option to then have that other War Rock tribute and set up in the graveyard to summon back with plenty of the different spells we run in the deck for you to use as defense later. And then the final card I run in the main deck for the trap lineup is Rivalry of Warlords. Each player can only control 1 type of monster. Send all other types they control the graveyard. So this is a great way just to mess around with your opponent having only warrior monsters in the main deck. It will cut you off some cards in your extra deck, but you're just going to be playing on the fact that your opponent won't be able to do a good amount of summons, but it's always a card you can side out if your opponent runs all majority of the same type, just like you do with this deck. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 1 Acacia Magician. You run a pretty generic extra deck lineup. So with it, just 1 going with the warrior type, all the same attribute, bounce option, Barricade Board Blocker to recycle the field spell, Nightmare Phoenix for destruction, Underclock Taker for more of the power boost plays, Cross Sheep, since we do run a few Xyz monsters, Mrs. Radiant with the majority of your cards being Earth attribute. It definitely does help there. And also I run the 1 Isolde, Tail of the Noble Knights for more of the warrior monster search, especially setting up ones in our hand for us to add. And also 1 Decode Talker, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Borreload Dragon, and 1 Boral Sword Dragon. Like I said, you don't go into the extra deck often, but I like to have all the available resources available. For the Xyz monsters, I run 1 Heroic Champion Excalibur. When we have Rivalry, being able to at least go into an Xyz monster that can hit some pretty big numbers is a big help there, along with 1 number 41 Baguska, 1 Dark Rebellion, and 1 Tornado Dragon to finish off the rest of the extra deck. And then as for some of your go-to plays, it really all plays off of the fact that you're just going to be hitting heavy against your opponent. And if you have that set up, it all goes down to what resources you have available in your hand, your graveyard, and what you can summon out onto the field to use against your opponent, or what you can use for them to attack into you and play that defensive role. We have a lot of powerhouses in this deck to make use of, and that's what I'd like to see with the upcoming support as well, using the War Rock deck. But if we do get any other options like Fusion or Xyz, they'll definitely add some true power to the deck also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's definitely a fun deck to look into. And like I said, maybe we'll see some more support for it in the future. But until then, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.